If you look at the sign to the right here, you'll see it says frontage road. It's a term that you see in the West and rarely, if ever, on the East. We're coming upon this intersection. There's a stop sign and it says MCR 14. 14 represents the number of the road. The MCR, I believe, represents the county. So I think it's something like Montgomery, and then the CR is County Road. The description or the structure of the roads here in the West is all very simple and straightforward. It's large square blocks essentially that go on for miles, and they're just cut up into square sections. So if you know how to count, it's pretty difficult to get lost until you get to towns. And when you approach the towns, that's when the county roads start to shift into names like Smith Road or Johnson Boulevard. But once you get out in the country, into the wild, so to speak, you only see these country roads, all numbered with odds and evens. The odds would either run north and south, and the evens would run east to west or vice versa. I can't remember, but there's a an organization to it all that once you understand that, you can locate yourself all the time when you think you're lost. This is a interstate. You can tell it's interstate because it says interstate in red there, and it says 76, and it's west. So 76, that is even, right? So that means that the even interstates go east to west, whereas the odds go north to south. If you think of on the East Coast, you have I-95 that runs from Florida all the way up through Boston and north probably into, well, may end in Boston, I don't know, or may continue, but the point is that the numbers correspond with the direction in which you're headed when it comes to interstates or county roads too. And so that's a bit of a guideline for how to navigate the world, or at least the USA. There's a speed limit of 75. If the speed limit is 75, chances are people are going 80 miles an hour without concern of being pulled over for being ticketed by a police officer. In the US, a loose rule on the highways is that you can go roughly 7 to 9 miles over the speed limit and not worry about being pulled over. And then the second point on the speed limit thing is that the general rule is if you're traveling roughly 10 miles an hour and above, you're going to be concerned if you pass a cop, because there's a good chance you'll get a ticket if you're going 10 or above. Say if you're going 80 in a 70, you might get a ticket. Here are some sod farms over here. It's just so wide open. I think they call this the high prairie, or the prairie. Beautiful. When the sun hits, it just lights up all this grass. You can see this golden grass here, and it really shines. Visually stunning. And this wide open sky we've got here is Colorado sky towards the evening. And as we chug along here, as I'm sure you guys can hear me breathing deeply, we've got this, what is this? This Werner. We keep America moving, and moving they are, right down to the scale. So he's gonna gonna pull onto this thing. They have this in the US, these weigh stations. I don't know if they're required to stop. I'm guessing they are, that it's regulated, and so he may have to get out of his truck and have his papers checked and have the truck weighed and go through a process, and then be allowed to carry on if he's okay. Or it might just be a cruise through. Might be a quick read electronically where he gets alerted that he's okay, either by a sign or a signal. Looks like he's rolling, so that seems to be a successful tractor trailer weight pull through, for lack of better terms. I don't know the terms, never driven one of those things, never been in one when they've moved. I've sat in one when one was parked when I was young, but my guess is there's lots of regulation on them. And I've actually thought about what happens if these truckers have drugs in the truck, and who takes the responsibility, and who do the police go after if the trucker's job is to carry items and goods, and they go to the warehouse, and the items are loaded by someone else, by the people paying for the service, and the trucker is simply doing the driving. If drugs are found, what happens? I'm sure it's happened a number of times. I've never researched the results, however. It's an interesting quandary to be in if you are completely innocent and unknowing.